I note that I'm not the prankster for one very specific reason.
Okay.
So my time to tell history time now.
All right. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the FloGrappling Show, aka the worst show on the internet. As always, I'm Trey Robinson. We got Joey Gilbs over there. We let Big Slack Barrett move down to the main seats today because Reed's MIA. We can't find him. If anybody knows where he's at, let us know. And then calling in all the way from Sao Paulo, specifically Jundiaí, I think, is special guest Mica Galvão. Everybody get up for Mica. What's up, Mica? How's everything going, Mica?
Hey, just fine. Training a lot, getting ready for BGG Stars, and that's how we roll.
Nice. So you recently were back in action, right? We saw you at the Rio Open. How was the Rio Open?
Yeah, I haven't fought since like August probably, so it was a feeling that I've been missing a lot. Instead of like getting this competition adrenaline, I was mostly, just going to the car and getting adrenaline, like very dangerous adrenaline. But now that I'm back in competition, I'm like, yeah, I don't need the car anymore. So it was pretty good. I got something off my shoulder. I felt that not competing, it's a little bit weird for me because it's been part of my whole life. But now I'm like, yeah, I needed that.
Nice. Did you get to spend any time in Rio, or was it all business? Go to the beach or anything?
I spent like no, it was horrible. It was rainy all day. We tried to go to the beach, but it was like cloudy. We tried to see around, but all we saw was the mall.
Nice. Was it a sick mall? The malls in Brazil, I don't know if a lot of people in America know this. The malls in Brazil are actually like popping. Like there's always a bunch of people. Like there's a bunch of stuff to do. The food court is kind of the move. I always like to find like a por kilo place at the mall food court, and load up a big old plate and all that. But tell the people in America that don't know what the malls are like in Brazil.
Yeah, so actually the mall in Brazil, it's more of like a hangout place where I remember I didn't have a lot of money before, and I still don't have a lot of money. I'm still on my way. But
same here, brother.
When we're all hustling. But before, when we didn't have any money, what we do is like just go into the mall, walk around, look at the stores, say, oh, look, this is cheap. Oh, this is expensive. But you actually never bought anything there. You just get an ice cream, walk around, get another ice cream, and then you go back home. And that was your day, like a Saturday or Sunday, something that all the Brazilians do here. And this time in Rio wasn't kind of different. We just like went there. We had food. But this time I could actually buy something, so I was kind of happy. And was just looking around a little bit, spent some time, got back to the hotel, another day in. Competition was going on. My parents were kind of like staying until 3 p.m. And we all decided to go to the mall again, eat something, and then take her whole crew and just go into the road again to go back to Jundiaí. But basically, that's it.
Nice. Did you guys roll with a pretty deep squad? Like, did a bunch of the kids and everything fly out also? Or was it kind of just you going to the Rio Open this time?
No, this time was not the whole squad, but it was like 5-6 people going along. I think we had a few competitors there. Even Alex went and fought. He won in his division. He won at the lightweight division, which is like one above his weight class normally. He goes in fatter. We had 2 more blue belts, me competing, and I think that was it, or maybe 2 more competitors, but it was pretty nice. I feel like the IBGF competitions in Brazil, whenever I have the chance to go when they're close by, it's super good.
Nice. Do you like competing in Brazil?
I do. Depends on where. If it's like in São Paulo and Rio, it's pretty nice. But if I have to travel, sometimes, maybe.
Where's the hardest place to compete in Brazil, if you had to say? How come?
Manaus, but the weather there is like horrible for you to fight. So when I was living there, it was awesome because I would get the visitors. They would be dying. They would be like breathing hard because of the hot weather, and that would be like perfect. But now I'm the visitor, so it's horrible for me.
You're getting soft in Sao Paulo, huh? Oh no.
Yes, I'm getting very. That's horrible here.
Yeah, speaking of malls, I remember whenever I was really young, malls were kind of the move. But I'm incredibly young, Mica. I'm not like these old heads. You guys got any mall stories? Were you mall guys back in the day?
Yeah, we had malls back in the day.
What kind of stuff were you doing at the mall, Slack? Let's hear a Slack mall story. I bet you were all over like the music store, just rifling through records and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Going to the music stores, or they have they used to have Borders books. Would always have like a music section. Great place to go surf for CDs. But they also had a movie theater there, so that was one of the main things that I would do. Go to the movie theater for sure.
Nice, Joe.
Let's go. I kind of grew up in the middle of nowhere, so I don't really have to name all stories. No,
yeah, sorry. I'm a little more similar to that, where I would have to drive like 30 minutes to get to a mall, and the mall would be terrible. Mica, you're big on books too, right? You read a lot of books. I remember last time we talked, you talked about always trying to gain knowledge. It sounds like you gave up on books from your reaction, though. You're not reading any books?
Yeah, I try to read as much as possible, but I'm a human, and the same way that every human goes by, they have like phases sometimes. My phases right now are very bad. A lot into
all right,
cars,
let's go.
A lot into some other stuff in there. That's pretty bad what I got into, and I should go back to the books.
What kind of stuff are you doing, Mica?
So vague.
We got a bad boy Mica on our hands.
Nah, definitely not. But I'm definitely getting the hang of like some other cool stuff. And the books that I'm actually reading right now are super simple. So sometimes they don't get me the adrenaline that I'm looking for, and that actually throws me off the hook a little bit.
Gotcha.
But I need to go back into the books. It's just that the self-help books, they're very cool, but they don't have like a hook to you. Like, oh, you need to wake up at 7 a.m. You need to do this and that and that and that. Also separate that and that and that. And I'm like, interesting, cool. And then you go in to look a video of a car, and there's like fires going on, and there's like brakes and stuff, shifting there and gear this and put a turbo on that. You waste that much money. There's this car crash. There's this Formula One car going to do this, and like, yeah, this is a lot more.
You're like a race car guy now, huh?
I try to, but my life is in danger sometimes.
Mica, we have like kind of a little book club starting up here where we have, like 5-6 jiu-jitsu-y kind of books. I don't know if producer Nikki can grab those, but are there any books that you would recommend that we add in for our study? What is this? What's the book?
It's a recipe book.
All right,
recipe book.
Vegan recipes?
Is it vegan? Is it because I know you're vegan?
No.
All right, let's go.
What the heck, dude? Why do you have a non-vegan recipe book?
Okay, so
you have been getting into bad stuff.
This. Yeah. No, I'm still vegetarian, but the thing is, like, I make a lot of bullying with vegans. Even though I'm on their side, I'm also on the opposite side. So, for example, Diogo got an electric car. I got a combustion one. If I got the electric car, I would be the full version. I would have a pet. I would have plants. I would have electric car. Being vegetarian, I just couldn't afford it. So sometimes you got to take the dark side.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I like the dark side. Dark side of jiu-jitsu too. Wrist locks, all that. My cup of tea. But another thing you talked about, getting some adrenaline and everything. You recently, I saw some stuff about you joining the Brazilian military, right?
Yes.
What's that been like? What's that all about?
Okay, so that's something like a form of maybe me giving to my country, because I wanted to be a police officer when I was younger, and that was a dream that I never was able to achieve because jiu-jitsu got in the way, and it was a much better option for me because I enjoy the sport. I love it. It's much easier for me to just keep training instead of being a police officer, being dangerous and all this stuff. But I always grew up seeing my dad just saying like, yeah, we got these guys today, and it was fun beating them up, giving them some slaps, scaring off some people. And this got into my mind, I'm like, yeah, this guy is badass. And as he was working in the special forces, the stories went even higher on the level. So when I got the option and the opportunity to be part of the military, first thing I asked them is like, am I going to be able to carry a gun with me? And they said we can work on that. I'm like, all right, if this is something workable, like something I can look forward to, then I'm definitely in. But also, I just wanted to, represent my country somehow. I think that being part of the military is something that everyone needs to, at least once in their life, have the experience. And there's some pretty cool stuff in there.
Whenever you should just move to Texas. Whenever you move to Texas, they just give you a gun right away. They're like, here's your Texas gun.
I like it. I think the first time I shot in my whole life was with you guys, and that's something messed up because I told like everybody like around me is like, yeah, your dad is a police officer. You probably shot with him. Like, nope. First time I shot was in Texas with the people from FloGrappling.
Heck yeah, dude. We made a video about it. You ever watch that video? You and Diogo out there shooting? It was out at it was with Yako and some of the guys out at Sheepdog.
Actually, I don't remember. I don't think I saw the video. I'm still looking for the video.
I'll send you a link to it. But yeah, you guys look super tactical. You know, you got all the cool guns and like you guys shot like I think some pistols and like a shotgun and stuff. I remember Diogo. I don't think he was very good at it, but maybe he was. I'm not sure.
No, he's better in the water.
One thing about going to Brazil and being with you guys is obviously Melky's always with us, and going around Brazil with Melky, because Melky's obviously like he's a pretty badass dude. You know, he has like a pretty wild resume and everything with the police and military there in Brazil. I don't know if I feel safer or more dangerous with Melky, because Melky's always like on high alert and he's always like, oh, move over this way, come this, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I'm like, okay, I think this is overall good, but it's also like a little stressful because Melky like brings an energy where he's like I've heard Diogo call him the general before and stuff, because he's kind of always just like orchestrating everything and making sure everyone's like where they need to be. So it's a wild experience going around Brazil with Melky.
I think that you could compare like the same experience of people that are in the front lines for those people who are in the war. They've seen like so much bad stuff that they're just like expecting the worst from the world. So we live in like this peaceful and cool place, but just beside us there's like killing going on, there's drug trafficking, there's all those stuff occurring, and police officers, people that go to war, they see the bad side and they just can't take their minds off of that and bring to the peaceful world because it's impossible. So I just like feel safe at the same time knowing those stuff, but also, as you said, unsafe because we're not a lot more than we should.
Yeah, for sure. Has he relaxed more since moving out of Manaus and living in Jundiaí now?
Definitely. Jundiaí is super peaceful. I think the most dangerous guys here in Jundiaí are probably me and Diogo driving recklessly and almost crashing.
True.
Sparing some old ladies. But yeah, we do some reckless stuff in here, and I believe that Jundiaí people don't like us very much.
Yeah, I mean, I could only imagine with you and Diogo just flying around these small Brazilian streets and stuff in your cars. But all right, Mica, let's talk some jiu-jitsu. All right, that's why we're ultimately all here. We haven't really had a chance to talk with you a ton since your huge year in 2024, where you completed the Grand Slam, went on to do the Super Grand Slam and win ADCC. I know this was at the start of the year. Whenever we saw you at Europeans, it went from you weren't even going to do Euros to kind of, Bruno from Kings asked you to go out and compete and you did it. And then that kind of flipped the switch for you where you were like, all right, this is going to be the year of Mica. This is going to be a year that people remember forever. And I just want to, now that we're on the other side of it, you kind of seem to have accomplished all the goals you had set out for that year. I just want to know your thoughts on it. What did you think about your 2024 year? Did you do what you set out to do? Do you feel kind of like accomplished from that? How does it all feel now that we're on the other side?
Now that I'm like fully completed, everything's done, I got to my objective, it's just weird for me because I thought that I would be a lot more, I don't know, maybe into it. But actually, I believe that watching like Michael Phelps documentary, like those big guys, after they accomplish something big, they need treatment. And later on, I realized why. Because after my ADCC title, I was really like low. And some stuff happened in my life. I feel like from September to probably January, where I got the news that I could maybe fight G Stars in some other events, I was pretty like, yeah, what's perspective of life? But it was super good for me because I never thought that at such a young age I would be able to accomplish so much in the sport. But at the same time, I realized that you need to have a greater purpose. Otherwise, you're just like, sorry for the word, fucked.
Yeah, so that is kind of like, I mean, it feels like one of the biggest things. I mean, it probably is the biggest thing someone can accomplish, the Super Grand Slam, but more specifically, just becoming an IBJJF World Champion and becoming an ADCC World Champion. You're kind of now just a complete grappling champion, you know? It's like you hold the two biggest titles there are. I remember Diogo one time was joking around about, after he won ADCC the first time, he was like, now, you know, he said, now as soon as I win the IBJJF World Championship, I will retire and I'm done, you know? So it's like, where does, that's my Diogo impersonation, by the way, which I feel like is pretty decent, you know, but
pretty good. Yeah.
Where does a grappler in your shoes, like, how do you kind of refine that purpose or reset goals? Because you are so young, but you do kind of have like the biggest accomplishments a lot of grapplers kind of spend their whole life trying to accomplish. So how do you kind of reset, like, now what you're going to do with the sport of jiu-jitsu?
So I felt like I could change my sports. I wanted to maybe do some MMA or something different this year, but then I realized that I still had some issues to like solve that I couldn't solve in the past years. So last year was focusing mostly on getting the titles, but this year and the next year I'm focusing on more on the hunting side. How can I explain that? So, for example, there are some fighters that I still want to fight. There's some matches that I still want to know what would be the outcome from them. And if I just stepped out of jiu-jitsu right now, I wouldn't be knowing what could have happened if I stood at the sport a little more. And that's some regret that I don't want to carry with myself. It's just like I said, you need a bigger purpose to keep yourself ongoing all the time. I remember my dad telling me when we were younger, okay, it's easy for you now to be training and drive yourself crazy because you don't have anything. You don't have money, you don't have fame, you don't have titles, you don't have no one besides us and our, your family by your side. But what will you do when you accomplish all those things? That's the main question you got to ask yourself. It's easy for you to do something when you don't have nothing to lose. When you're like, okay, I'm just going to give it my all, I have nothing to lose. That's easy. But once you achieve like everything that you want in your life, when you have titles, when you have fame, when you have family, when you have money, when you have stability, when you have all those stuff that you always dreamed of, that's the hard part because you already have it. What else are you going to look for? What else are you going to pursue on your career in general? And I think that's the biggest challenge for me because I have everything that I wanted. Of course, I want more. And I believe that the fans, all the people around me, they cheer me up a little more and they drive me into going to deeper places, which, as I said, this year I'm going to be focusing more on hunting.
Nice. We got Mica the Hunter in 2025. That's kind of sick, huh?
What are some
Hopefully.
of those matchups and matches that are motivating you?
Of course, the matches that I lost mostly. Just like Gordon did, like in the past, where he was like facing those guys that beat him up when he was like younger. I kind of want to do something of the same, where I'm gonna be at some point retiring, but I want to retire out of the sport with people knowing, like, yeah, in his division and among like all the divisions across the world, is like one of the best. I can't say that I'm gonna be the best because it's something too much superficial. Just like Christian always said, sometimes people are going to look at me and they're like, oh, yeah, this guy was good, but this one was the best. Or, yeah, Mica was the best, but someone else is going to have another opinion. But I just want to be reminded as one of the best, literally in everyone's mind.
So obviously, like when you say that, the name that comes to mind for me would obviously be like Cade Ruotolo. I would suspect is someone that you would probably want. Is there other people on that list? Because I don't know, I can't think of you losing a lot. What are some of the other people who are kind of on that list for you?
So I lost in purple belt match to a Russian guy that I still want to have a match with him. I believe that Cade is also one. I'm gonna have a match right now opportunity. I'm not gonna have the match, but I'm gonna have the match opportunity if both of us are able to keep going in the bracket, or if we go into the first match. I also want to have another match with PJ Bart, even though I won twice against him. I thought that the last one was a very tough match for both of us, and you kind of left that bitter taste, because it was by decision. But this time, I want to make sure that it's something decisive, not something that it's going to be left to the judges, because I think that's the fun about, going into a match and not have like judges or someone deciding that for you. Besides that, there are some other fighters that I want to go against. Dante is definitely also one, because I had an encounter with him on an open class, and it wasn't very good for my side, so now I want to get back, There's definitely some other fighters that I want to match. I want to have a match, but not that I lost to them, but simply because I'm curious to know how they feel into a competition. And yeah, basically that's it.
Okay, that's a good list. I would love to watch you in matches with pretty much any grappler, but a lot of those guys too would be particularly sick matches. You brought up PJ Barch, so obviously you guys are both going to be in the BJJ Stars 15 middleweight Grand Prix, which is really shaping up to be a pretty incredible Grand Prix. I think this is one of the best no-gi Grand Prix we've seen kind of in recent times. Just overall, how did this come about, you putting your name into this Grand Prix? Did Feppa reach out to you? Did he ask you to be in it? Did you kind of seek it out? How did this come to be?
It was Fate by asking if I could participate on it, and always I ask, who is on the card? Because if it's a good card, I have no problem going. But sometimes if the card doesn't make sense, at least for me, I ask if I could have like a solo match. But at first, I was supposed to have a match with a guy. I'm not gonna mention names because I really don't like bringing up just names randomly like this. The match couldn't go forward. I don't know why. I signed the contract and all. I was waiting for an answer. And then, no, sorry, I didn't sign a contract. I agreed to participate on the match, and then I was waiting for an answer. But then something happened. We could keep going forward with the negotiations. And then Feppa asked if I wanted to participate on the 83 kilo division, no-gi. And as soon as he mentioned some of the names that were participating on the card, I felt that he was like truly investing in a great card. So it's literally like a very big diversity into the card. There's like Taza, there's BJ, there's Johnson Gracie, there's Gabriel, there's like all those guys from different places, not only from Brazil specifically, because normally that's what happens, you just get Brazilians, but no, there's like Americans, Canadians, Brazilians, everybody mixed up in there, and I believe that this is going to bring some good wars in the event.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty incredible all the way through. We have kind of the graphic here for all the people in the Grand Prix and the matches as well, the super fights and everything that we can look at. Whenever you kind of look at this Grand Prix, I know you mentioned PJ Barch already. I kind of, if I had to predict, and we really don't know at all how this bracket's going to be in or anything, I kind of feel like you and PJ are going to end up on opposite sides, just like looking at it, and also just knowing some of the history of all this. And I think, potentially you guys meeting would be one of the biggest possible matches. I know you guys had the Who's Number One match. It was kind of weird circumstances. Obviously, Andrew Tackett won, but then couldn't continue to face him. That's another guy I would throw out there as like yes. Is that one you have on the list, Mica? Andrew?
Yes.
I think that would be.
Him once.
Yeah. When did you guys fight before?
We fought on Who's Number One, I think, as soon as I arrived in US on 2021, but.
You rolled for really young.
May of 2020, I think it was, or something like.
No, 2021, I think.
Maybe it was 2021. Yeah.
Super early on.
So I believe. Yeah, we both developed a lot. Andrew has been like going on a crazy rampage, fighting all those guys there, and giving on shows. And that's something I really appreciate when you're going into a match, is when the guy is actually wanting to fight, not just like hey. Let's go in there. I'm going to try to win at all costs, no matter how ugly the fight it is. I'm just going to try to win. That's like horrible. I hate this shit. I'm sorry. But if you're going to come up and sign a contract, if you're going to be paid and stuff like this, just give it your all and go and have a good match. That's what I really look into his matches. I really enjoy watching it, not because also he's from a division, but also because he's a guy that it's beautiful to the eyes to see.
For sure, yeah. I think that one would be absolutely electric. But for this Grand Prix specifically, are there other matches or other big names that you're kind of looking forward to? Like, you know, obviously there's Elijah Dorsey, Oliver Taza, Paganini, you, Jonatas, Gabriel Almeida, PJ, and Isaac Michel. So definitely kind of like a widespread. Like you said, it's not just all, you know, Brazilian people who live currently in Brazil or anything. There's a lot of people traveling to Sao Paulo for this one. Kind of like a good spread of names, you know? Is there anybody else that you're kind of excited about a potential match in this one? Or
I kind of would like to also face Big Breakfast. Elijah would be very cool because he's that guy that was also in my division in the ADCC, but he came short on Wagner on the semifinal, and I wasn't able to face him. But I believe that he also developed a lot in the no-gi side, because mostly I would see him in the gi, and then later he was just like crushing it on the no-gi too. So it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be a great one. One that I'm particularly interested in, and it's partly because of, you know, a who's number one bias, but you're the welterweight who's number one champion, 170 pounds, and Jonatas Gracie is the 185 champion, and you're both kind of in this middleweight bracket. So I do feel like that's too big. You know, anybody who's carrying the WNO strap is obviously one of the most elite grapplers on the planet. So I think that would be a pretty crazy one. But really, any way you shake this, these are going to be a lot of good matches.
Definitely. I believe that Jonathan is like a very good guy in the no-gi session. Sorry, in the no-gi side. I don't know why I'm saying session, but okay. I faced him, I think, on the 2022 ADCC Worlds semifinal, and it was a pretty tough match. I believe that we had a lot of exchanges in between the match. I have been watching him. That's the cool thing. I've been watching him since he was a blue and a purple belt, because I was an orange belt. And he was like crushing and all, like weight and open class individual. He was like this night guy. And now I have the opportunity to be with him on the same stage. I think like for the second time, and it's just pretty cool. Also, he was in my bracket in ADCC. Would be a cool match, but I just adore that guy. He's very nice, very friendly towards me and my family, and we have like a long history, because he also worked with us on a few events in the US. But, you know, we're just paid to do that. And whenever we fall in the bracket, of course, we're just going to give our best. But yeah, I really like his style too. He's like a very aggressive guy. I believe that mostly he plays on top in very strong passings. But if we were to face, I'm pretty sure we would be switching some wrestling.
Definitely. One thing about BJJ Stars, just in general, but also an element you bring, BJJ Stars to me is like one of the most fun events to go to in person. I'm going to be lucky enough to be there again this year, so I'm excited to see it. But I remember, I think it was BJJ Stars 10, like it was like the Battlefield theme, and it was an absolute gi bracket that you were in. You ended up fighting Nalati first round, and then you ended up having Kynan, but you kind of, there was like an injury DQ situation, you know. But that first walkout you had against Nalati, where you kind of had, you know, you were representing kind of some of your heritage and all that, and you had everyone in the crowd was just like stomping and clapping to like this kind of tribal beat and everything. Just made it one of probably like the most exciting, insane live sporting events I've ever been to be honest. Not just jiu-jitsu, but like in general, because everyone was on the same page. You brought out a huge squad and all that. Is there an element of BJJ Stars where you're able to do more of that with like the walkout, with like kind of having a big team there? Is that like a fun element to you?
Yeah, that's just I believe that was the best interest for me, at least, because it's something nobody was expecting. Even FIPA, we had to lie to him, actually. We were supposed to do a 40-second walkout, but then it ended up being longer. And
lying to FIPA, that's a scary game, dude. I don't know if that's a guy I'd want to lie to.
Okay, but at least the interest was so good that he went like all around the world. It was like at least recognized as one of the best entrances in all sports. And I'm just like pretty sure that no matter the situation that was happening that night, it was hard for anyone to stop. Even the guys that hated, like I saw some comments like hating on this. They're like, that's so disrespectful. Why they were stepping on the mats and stuff. why there were so many people going on the mat alongside the fighter. That's not possible that no one stopped this bullshit. I remember the comment. And then a guy on the bottom just commented saying, yeah, I also didn't like it and I thought it was respectful. But dude, at the moment, it was so beautiful that no one could ever stop that. So I believe that some stuff, they have a different vibe. And as you said, when you go there in person, the energy is totally different. I remember also when I won my GP belt on the 83 kilo division in BG Stars, was also the same energy. I never heard like people screaming so much like that night, and even my ear was still zooming a little bit on the night that I went to sleep, because it was just like everybody's screaming and going around and throwing curse words like "God damn," but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I mean, it is hard to explain to someone who hasn't seen it in person what it's really like. You know, I don't know if commenters will ever really understand that full effect. You know, because they just are watching on the stream. BJ Stars is one of the only streams, like, it's on FloGrappling, and we offer usually like an English commentary one, but those people are not in the venue. They're like doing it remotely from here in like the studio. And then there's the Portuguese commentary, and I always I don't understand Portuguese. I can understand when you make a little social media video and you're like "Fala galera," you know, "What's up, guys?" But that's about all I can understand. That and a bunch of bad words that you taught me. But I won't get into those on this podcast. But Mica likes teaching bad words, and he once got me to ask a waiter if I knew where if he knew where the shower was, and then they all laughed at me. But whatever. Maybe I'll tell that story in a little bit. But the environment is so electric at BGA Stars that I like listening to the Portuguese commentary just so you can hear the venue. Like, so many people yelling and shouting. One thing I like about Brazil competition is Brazilians are not afraid to boo people they don't like. I feel like in America, it's so quiet. It's almost like a golf tournament where no one really makes much sound. You know, they'll kind of do like, ooh or ah when there's like a big move. But in Brazil, dude, it's like ruthless. It's like everyone's booing if they don't like you. They're shouting if they love you. It's just kind of an unmatched environment like that. So pretty electric.
Actually, I remember the same energy that I felt in BG Stars. Of course, it was a much smaller venue, so that's why I could actually feel the same energy. But I remember my first Super Bowl game. It was crazy. It was like the time that it would appear on the big screen saying like, "Make some noise," and I would be screaming like crazy, standing up and throwing beers at each other, and then there would be like a confusion going on. I'm like, dude, please do not fight. I'm in the middle here, and I don't want to be in the middle of this. But I remember feeling like the same energy at Oise.
For sure. All right, I'll tell this story then. Well, we were in Rio filming with you. All right, and so we actually have this film, The Year of Mica, that's pretty much done now. I don't know if you've gotten to see any of it yet, but maybe we can send you some clips and everything. But this is about your full 2024 run. We were kind of there for pretty much all of it. And one of the things we did is we went with you to Rio, and we went. This is your whole team is there. There's probably like 20 little Manawaras here in Rio running around causing mayhem. Not really. Your whole team very much is like very business, like Melky makes sure everyone is like, you know, perfectly in line. But we're at this restaurant and you're like making me speak Portuguese to this waiter and stuff, and I needed to go to the bathroom, and you were like, no, just ask him, you know how to say it. And I think I said something like Jeonji Banyo, and the guy just looked at me and he was like, what? And Mika was like, yeah, good job, you're saying it. No, I'm like, Jeonji Banyo. And then this dude just like is so confused, and then your whole team just starts laughing at me because I was asking him where the shower was. Like, I was asking if I could shower in his restaurant. So Mika was setting me up there, and then there was another thing you got me to say, which is "eu quero pau," which is not.
Oh, no.
All the Portuguese speakers know what I just said. You know, I'm not telling what I actually asked. What I said I like. I meant to say bread, which is like pão, and I didn't successfully do that. But Mika's for anyone who doesn't know, Mika's a little prankster. He'll get you saying some bad stuff to people in Portuguese if you're not careful.
I know that I'm not the prankster for one very specific reason.
Okay.
So my time to tell history time now.
All right.
I remember we were on this fruit stand in Manaus, and then Trey promised to give a green card to this girl that was working in the front store there.
Okay.
And
Whoa.
she was just waiting there. She was just waiting there. And then he's like, hey, me, America, let's go. I give you a green card. And then she got so happy and excited, and suddenly he just like opened up his Gatorade that he was drinking and walks away, and she's like, hey, you're not giving me your number? In Portuguese, all this, of course. And Trey didn't understand. I translated to him, and it's like, No.
That is not how this played out at
I
all.
was like, that sounds like something that Trey would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic Tracy.
No. That is not. Okay, so we were outside in Nabil's gym, right? In Manaus?
Yep.
Yeah, we were outside in Nabil's gym. Your dad was training there. That's where he got his black belt, right? I feel like probably not a lot of Americans know about Nabil, but that's where a lot of kind of legendary black belts have came from.
time.
You know, like Melky got his black belt there. Did Diego Pato get his black belt from Nabil
Diego
also?
Palta, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he trained there, but and you remember if he also got his black belt there. But I remember in the old times there would be a reunion like where everyone would be not competing but training, like on our off time season would be like all of us from Malky. Some guys also would be competing, like for example, as you said, Pato. There would be the Sodras brothers there. It would be like a very tough training, even though it was like a relaxed training. But never was good sessions, like just crazy and killing.
Yeah, that was it's kind of like one of the hub gyms in Cidade Nova, right? Which is the neighborhood a lot of you are from. I remember one time, I think it was Melky was saying like, you know, the best grapplers in the world aren't just from Manaus, they're from Cidade Nova, which is kind of like this one specific area where a ton of the Manaus world champions and stuff have kind of came from. And Nabil's kind of a hub there. So it's kind of interesting that all of you guys are mostly from one specific neighborhood as well in Manaus.
Yep, I think that's like a half neighbors. So it was like very poor, but also you had some opportunities there. And every single guy that came from that side, it's not like too bad. Like they're educated, but at the same time we were tough. So I felt like we got a little bit from both words.
Definitely. But what actually happened in this story is that we were at Nabil's and it's like 1,000 degrees, like 150 degrees. I don't know, just impossible temperatures to live in. And I'm a gringo, dude, so I'm freaking hot. I'm sweating. You know, I probably got a little sweat going, so my hair probably looks real nice, all slicked back. You know, I'm dripping head to tippy toe, Vaselined up pretty much. And so there's like a little juice stand. I walk over there and I'm like, hey, I happen to like speak in broken Portuguese. I'm like, hey, can I get a Gatorade, whatever? And I'm pretty sure this girl was just like, I love you. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. Please give me a green card. That's how I remember it, Mica. I don't know. I don't know if I was just saying. I think she was, you know, asking for it is how I remember. But
yeah, we all know the truth. But okay, let's take your story.
Yeah. All right. But so yeah, fun stories in Manaus there and Sao Paulo. But I'm super excited to watch you on this Grand Prix. I think one thing that I'm also excited to watch is your teammate Diogo is going up against Mayrum. This is a pretty insane matchup. Like when this one got announced, it was kind of like, whoa. Like Feppa's been working overtime, pulling together kind of some of these huge matches. What do you think of this matchup between Diogo and Mayrum?
I think if I'm not mistaken, it's 1-1. For like each of those, it's one victory for Diogo on Word Pro, if I'm not mistaken, and one for Mayron. I don't remember which event specifically it was, but these two are very hard when they fight because like it's tough. Diogo is like very strategical, but Mayron is also like that guy that is super crazy, aggressive, but at the same time he's also very strategical when time needs. And I just don't know. I feel like Diogo's on a whole nother like level in his life because you can probably see now on his pictures, Instagram and stuff that he's posting a lot more shirtless pictures because he's in more shape. And guys like, you know, very focused and all training like crazy. I don't even know how he lost Panabs, to be sure. I'm going to be sincere here because I told everyone that was on my side. Diogo is not losing this pants, not even if rains like fire from the sky, because he was destroying every single day of training. Of course, things happen, but I'm still thinking that Diogo is going to be crazy prepared for this BGG Stars, and he's going to be doing something, I don't know, surprising us, because even for me, sometimes he surprises me. For example, ADCC, where he submitted Pato in the final, that was something crazy. I knew that he could win. I knew that he would win, because that's something I always believe in my heart, but the way that he did win was astounding.
Definitely, yeah. I think so, especially on BJJ Stars, Mayrum has had some pretty insane performances, like where he's able to just snipe submissions and kind of just pull off some insane like judo, stuff like that. I feel like Diogo is such a tactical guy, and he pulls out crazy stuff too, like the Pato match being a great example. That was one of the wildest matches where it looked like Pato just like had his number for so long. But Diogo is so good at like sticking to a game plan and just knowing, if he like weathers the storm, like he'll eventually come back around and kind of get his moment, and he capitalized on it for sure. How do you see this specifically playing out with Mayrum and Diogo? I know Mayrum can play the tactical game too, but it does feel like more and more we see him just let loose. How do you see this one kind of playing out?
So, as you said, for example, with Pato and Diogo, it kind of reminded me of Usman and Edward on the match that Edward was able to knock out Usman at the last second. But with Diogo and Mayron, I really don't know how it would be, because, as I said, Diogo, it's a guy that is like very tactical, but Mayron is also a tactical guy, but I believe that he's more on the aggressive side, and he tries to, use his judo over there, very aggressive on top to try to get to the pass and then flow with the submissions. But Diogo, if my mind is not tricking me here, I remember that their first match was a matter of like mentality, because Diogo was blocking most of his like takedowns and reading his game very well. So if he's able to do that on the same wavelength again on BG Stars, I believe that this is going to be a game changer, because Miran is tough, but sometimes I believe that he loses his temper and he tries his stuff a little faster, and that sometimes might prove as his I don't know if I'm being sober here, but weakness. And Diogo is very, very tricky into using those stuff against his opponents, even against me in the training. He knows like my game very well. So if I'm like flowing with him and trying to do some stuff, he's like able to read it, use the right moment, and just like go for the kill.
Nice. What about some of the other younger kids on your team? Are there some younger kids we should keep an eye on? I know we've been watching Kalabi a lot. He's been having kind of some big performances and everything as well. But what's this next generation at the Melky BJJ College that we should keep our eye on?
Okay, so you probably met Izaki, right?
Yeah, for
the
sure.
green belt who trains with me, like kind of like my cousin.
Izaki Lima, right?
Yes, that's a little guy. So the funny part is that from every single person that I've ever met or trained with, and every single boy that I've seen on the internet and all of this, he's the one that resembles me the most. He's silly, but very creative on his jiu-jitsu. Is a strong but very calm guy, and the way that he flows it kind of reminds me of when I was younger. Right now, of course, I flow a little less because I don't have the same gas tank. I need to hold it down, try to win by advantage, but he's a guy that really pulls me a little bit on my nerves. Also, of course, as you said, there's Caleb. I believe that he's on a very good streak. There's some other blue belts that are upcoming. There's also this girl called Olivia on our school that she's been winning everything ever since the start of the year. She got both double gold on Europeans and Pan Ams. I believe that I don't see her losing the whole Grand Slam this year. I see her conquering if she goes to both weight and open class on Brazilians and Worlds. I'm pretty sure she's going to get both of those. And pretty much that. Also, we're going to look out for the black belts that are going to come and conquer this world title. I believe that Diogo this year is going to be off the hook. There's also this sort of brothers that are just always like at the top of his divisions, but I'm pretty confident on them this year. And yeah, pretty much all this.
Nice. A lot of good Melky younger guys to keep an eye on, but also the black belts, of course, everything like Diogo. We'll always be watching Diogo anytime he's competing. But that kind of leads me to my next question. I want to ask you, you obviously have this BJJ Stars Grand Prix. I know Ricardo's probably blowing up your phone trying to get you on Who's Number One here soon, one of the upcoming Who's Number Ones. But then just in general, what kind of stuff are you trying to accomplish this year? I know you kind of said this is about being Mica the Hunter, but I'm curious, are you going to lean more into no-gi this year? Are we going to see you back in the gi? We kind of talked about this on a previous episode where we were like wondering like, oh man, are we going to get to see Mica compete in the gi at all this year? Are you going to pop into like a Brasileiros or like a Worlds or anything like that? Do you have kind of a plan for some of these major tournaments where we might see you?
I'm mostly focusing on no-gi this year, probably. You know, if some sort of like energy flows into my body and just want to go into a competition randomly, my gi competition, of course I'm gonna do that. But always talking to the people that organize my whole career, because sadly and happily now it's a matter of adjusting the schedule and knowing that sometimes my actions they have a lot of weight. So if I do something like crazy, it's not gonna be only me. I need to think about like other events, other people that depend on me, and other what's the name, other. I'm gonna remember the word. Yeah, stuff that I have to do.
I'm gonna convince you to say a
So
bad word right now.
tell me
I'm
other
kidding.
bullshit that I gotta do.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm
Actually,
kidding.
if I may, Mika, last year you go through the Grand Slam, winning everything in the gi at middleweight and then worlds at lightweight. You say this year you're focusing on no-gi. But this year at the middleweight, we're seeing Tynan Dalper go through to the Grand Slam himself, right? And
Yeah.
it just feels like there's so many times where we see you guys just kind of miss each other. You know what I mean? Where you're in this bracket, he's in this bracket. You're in that bracket, he's in this bracket. And this is one of the matches that fans really want to see. I know we saw it at the very, very beginning of you guys' black belt careers, years ago, but this is a match that fans really want to see again. Do you think it's going to happen soon? Do you think it's going to happen? Tell me your thoughts on this.
Bees here, I really don't know because none of us is forced in that match. I believe that the energy and the hype for the whole matchup kind of like faded away a little bit. And if we got a good opportunity, of course, both of us wouldn't be able to say no to it. But right now, we're both focusing on different sides of our careers. I believe that Tynan is looking for his Grand Slam. Last year, he had a shortcoming on Worlds, and I was on the lightweight division, so we couldn't, be in the same bracket and try to face each other. But I believe that, as I said, we're in different parts now. I'm mostly focusing on no-gi. He's mostly focused on the gi. But I never know what's going to happen because I was going to do just no-gi last year, too. I was going to only focus on ADCC, but then suddenly, stuff happened. And then I had the Grand Slam coming, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, got to do it. But if something comes and there's like a change of plans, I'm pretty sure it's going to be very soon, or I don't know, maybe even hints. That's weird.
For sure. Obviously, if we ended up seeing you slide into that middleweight worlds bracket, that would be kind of one of the biggest potential stories at this Worlds. That free registration, you can just pop in there. Mica, world champ gets to but that would obviously be sick. I want to ask you now some more about WNO specifically, because like I said, you are the WNO welterweight champion, and we have a big event coming up April 18th in here in Texas at Round Rock for WNO 27, and there's two welterweights competing on the card that I think have been making a big name for themselves. We already kind of talked about one, but we're going to see Andrew Tackett go up against Fab Yuri, and it does feel like anyone who's kind of in these big welterweight matches right now are currently kind of building a resume to get a shot at the title. Andrew's one that match was supposed to happen at who's number one for the belt in the Grand Prix, but it didn't really play out. But I'm curious, what do you think about this matchup between Andrew and Fab Yuri?
I love it. Because both of those guys are, as I said, very aggressive. Andrew, I believe that his resume in no-gi is a lot bigger than Fabry, so of course he's going to be the favorite. But Fabry has also been doing crazy good in no-gi. I fought with Fabry on the Europeans last year. Was a very tough match. I was able to secure the submission, but still a lot of exchanges. So I felt that his game is all about going up front and fighting and actually showcasing jiu-jitsu. And Andrew is not different. So I believe that we're both going to be winning on this side, as I said, as an spectator and as a fan. But still, I'm just excited to watch it and see who's going to be coming as a champion from that division. And depending from who comes as the champion from that match, maybe I can also ask them out.
Yeah,
if they accept it first.
of course. That would obviously be pretty incredible. I want to ask you about kind of the main event too. The main event's going to be Kainan Duarte versus Nick Rodriguez. So we kind of have the double gold ADCC champ going up against the CJI champ. Two guys who met in 2019 but have never met again. What do you think about this main event on Who's Number One?
I believe the hype was a little higher before the last event that Nick Rod competed, because Nick has been so dominant in all his matches until he got to the UFC. But then after he had it with his match with Victor Hugo, just like thinking, dude, what is he gonna do? Is it gonna be bad or good to him? So I'm actually excited to see now how he's gonna deal with that, like after a loss feeling. Because if he's the kind of guy that like just gets super angry, tries like crazy, and goes into the cave, then that's going to be a very good encounter for me to watch. Kainan is like also a super tough guy. He just literally dominated on ADCC. He was like in a whole nother level, getting weight in open class. And I really don't know what to expect, because both guys are very good doing takedowns. I believe that they have a very good passing game, very good submission-oriented guy for Kainan, and I believe that Nick is a super experienced guy in the nogi. So it's just like a match that you don't know what's going to be the outcome. You just know that it's going to be like a lot of scrambles.
Definitely. That makes me wonder too, with you setting new goals and kind of finding new purpose and everything, now that you've accomplished so much, are we going to see a Mica that bounces around weight divisions, maybe more in some opens and everything as well, kind of coming up? Is that where some of your sights might be set on?
I don't know if opens would be the thing, like going to the open classes and stuff, because it's literally you're sometimes risking yourself to getting what's the name? Injured for not so much. But if it was like close to event, like Who's Number One, I'm definitely open to it. So it's a plan that I was also discussing, maybe facing bigger guys, trying to, also putting my belt on the line, the 170 belt that has been on a while there holding. So I'm just like, I want to have cool experience. I want to try out my jiu-jitsu. I want to see how far I can get and how much I developed along those years.
Certainly. All right. So, we've been at it for a while now. I got a couple more more fun questions for you before we get out of here. The first one, this is something we try to ask all of our guests, but if there was a Mica Galvão clone, a 1-to-1 clone, the same body, same mind, everything, would you be able to submit yourself?
Dang. I don't think so.
No? Why not?
Actually, maybe I could, but it would have to be one of those very flashy, quick submissions. Because if you went to a scramble where we would be like just switching positions, I was just like, it's hard. maybe.
Well,
maybe
do you
I
know
could.
any flashy submissions, Mica Galvão?
Maybe.
maybe.
Sometimes some of these appear.
You think you could snag an armbar on yourself in some crazy transition?
No.
No?
Armbar, I'm pretty sure I couldn't. Yeah, armbar, I'm pretty sure I couldn't. Maybe going for a back. Still, that's fucking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Imagine
I need to
this is how
prepare a plan.
everybody else feels trying to fight you.
For sure. What
I'll
about?
try to prepare a plan. I'll bring it up to you.
All right, sick. Yeah, write out the blueprint for us, how you would fight yourself. What about passing your own guard? Would you be able to pass your own guard?
No. I
Yeah.
wouldn't.
That one always seems to be
I
an
get-
easier answer for people that they couldn't pass their own guard. So some people say they could, but
Yeah, because I believe that for me, the type of guard that I hate the most is the one that I play. So, yeah.
What type is that?
I hate those guys that are very flexible and just are able to bring their legs up here and circle and come back all the time. This is awful, but I do it.
does that mean you also hate rolling with Diogo? Because Diogo he retains guard in a pretty crazy way.
Yeah, no, but still, he's a smaller guy, but I don't see him doing as much crazy stuff because he's a very tactical and very fruity guy. So he's able to predict what I'm doing, and then before I actually get to that situation where he needs to do something crazy, he's already defending. So I can't even reach that point with him.
Fair enough. And then go ahead,
Actually,
Joe.
yeah, I have a question here because you were kind of talking about fighting open weight, fighting all this, taking on these challenges. If you could take on anybody in their prime from history, even it is from today, but also from past generations, is there somebody that like, man, it would be really cool to face this person in like a WNO fight?
Of course, Marcelino.
Who?
Marcelino Garcia.
Marcel Garcia. Great answer.
Yes.
How do you think that fight would go?
I don't know. I believe that people have been saying that I resemble him a lot. Like those that I've trained with, they say that I resemble him a lot. But I'm still believing that his game is a lot more structured than mine. But the gun that I would have like up in my sleeve would be something more creative, because I'm more of like a flow guy, and that's something I really would love to like see. Of course, in both of our primes, I'm still sure that I'm not near my prime. I'm still 21. There's still a lot for me to accomplish. I thought that I was like I stopped my growth, but then I realized that after ADC I did not stop it. I'm a little heavier, but that's still something I'm like, dang, I want to see where I'm getting, and from there I want to see how much better I can get. But yeah, Marcelino definitely would be something that I would be looking forward to go against, because he's the best 77 kilo in the whole division. So no contest.
Kind of in that same school of thought, do you have a favorite grappler all time? Someone that you've kind of always considered your favorite to watch, or just as you were coming up, like this is Mica Galvão's favorite grappler?
Yes, I do. So I have a lot of grapplers, but the first one that actually got to like my heart when I was like a little kid was Rodolfo Vieira, because of his passing style and all this. And later on, having the opportunity to meet him up in person, talking to him, being friends with him, it's something that really brightened up my whole like life. And just watching him when I was younger, I was like, yeah, I want to be like him. Of course, there were a lot more fighters that I liked to follow, but he's the one that his energy attracted me a lot.
Awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much all the questions we had and everything. Mica, is there anything else you want to say, or anything you want to shout out? I know you've been doing a lot with YouTube and all your social content, so where can people watch more of Mica Galvão? Where can they follow you and everything?
Yeah, so y'all can go to Instagram and just type there Mica Galvão. You're going to be able to find me. YouTube, same thing. There's also TikTok, but I don't use it as much as I should. And soon enough, we're going to be competing on the 26th. There's going to be the BG Stars, and you can catch all of this on FloGrappling. Of course, if you're from Brazil, there's going to be the mainstream in Brazil, but if you're from anywhere around the globe, just go to FloGrappling, do your subscription. There's also my link if you want to support me. I'm going to leave it on my bio on Instagram to make it easier for you guys. And that's it. Thank you for having me. It's just a pleasure being here. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Of course, I want to go to more places throughout Brazil with you. Now my girl is hearing me here, so I can't talk a lot. Otherwise, she's going to beat me up. But, yeah.
All right, nice. We got to set out and get some more green cards out there. Am I right, Mica? No, I'm kidding.
No.
All right, bro. Well, we really appreciate you calling in. I know you got a busy schedule. I know you're getting ready for competition and everything. So It's always a pleasure talking to you. I love hanging out with you and getting to spend time with you as well. So I'm excited to be down in Brazil, following you through this Grand Prix and everything. Maybe we can go get some vegetarian food or something, or some ramen. Let's go to Liberdade and get some ramen while we're there. But
let's go. This time I'm driving you.
All right. Well, that's terrifying, but all right, I'll ride with you. But I want to sit in the front middle seat. I want to be right there next to you, squeezed up, between you and Melky. So that's my plan.
No problem.
All right, awesome. But
no problem.
Thanks again, Mica. For everyone watching at home, make sure and go subscribe to Mica, go follow him. And while you're here, subscribe to the FloGrappling YouTube channel and all that. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Os.
Os.